Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'd like to introduce you to a unique solution that we've been passionately working on, the Golden Connections box. Now, at a glance, this might seem like just another box, but allow me to peel back its layers for you. This box embodies a philosophy. As people journey into their senior years, their needs change, their aspirations evolve, and their connections with the world shifts. The Golden Connections box is not just a physical collection of items, it's a bridge to their past, a companion in their present, and a gateway to a more connected future. Let's break it down a bit. We recognize three key demographics within the senior citizen community. The single senior woman in her late 70s, feeling the weight of solitude, the married senior man in his early 80s, yearning to retain his physical autonomy, and the widowed senior woman in her late 60s, whose home is a reservoir of cherished memories. For each of these personas, the Golden Connections box offers tangible tokens, a calendar to reignite social interactions, TRX fitness bands to empower physical independence, a gardening tip book to renew a bond with nature, and a sprinkle of daily affirmations to rekindle hope and optimism. The beauty of this box lies in its universality. Each item, while addressing specific needs, resonates with the collective experience of aging. It's more than just a box, it's a companion for the golden years, an affirmation of worth, and a testament to the timeless beauty of life's later chapters.
In our quest to explore the aging in place landscape, we began with a deliberate effort to gain a comprehensive understanding of the problem, primarily immersing ourselves in YouTube videos. Watching interviews and videos featuring the demographic we aim to engage provided us with a profound sense of empathy even before we began our interviews. This initial research phase not only offered us a glimpse of what we might uncover during our interview process, but also served as the foundation upon which all our insights would later be built. Before diving directly into interviews, we crafted an interview guide to steer our discussions. Surprisingly, some of the most valuable insights emerged from the icebreaker questions that bore no relation to the primary issue we were investigating, but were simply there to help ease the interviewee into the conversation. We posed questions like, if you were a superhero, what superpower would you choose? And, if you were to meet your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give? These open-ended, light-hearted questions served as an ideal means to ease apprehension, establish rapport, and infuse a touch of levity into somewhat sensitive topic of aging. At the same time, it allowed us, the interviewers, to gauge the disposition of our respondents, enabling us to tailor our future questions accordingly. Some respondents favored brevity in their answers, while others held more expansive and philosophical conversations. We found the use of these icebreaker questions to be invaluable and plan to incorporate them in any similar future endeavors. Once we collected our responses from interviewees, we took on the task of developing a composite profile that synthesized all of our findings. The development of our composite profile provided us with the opportunity to blend artistic expression with the factual observations gathered during interviews, resulting in a profile that resonated with the collective experiences of our respondents. Keeping in mind the insights we gathered, we then crafted a point of view that would guide our later prototyping efforts. Because an undercurrent of gloominess and nostalgia surrounding aging became apparent during these interviews, our chosen POV underscored the importance of seniors embracing their age, as opposed to resenting or fearing it. Using this POV, our final how might we statement became, how might we help seniors embrace their aging? This statement resonated for two significant reasons. Firstly, it delved into the core challenge faced by many seniors, encouraging an optimistic acceptance of the natural process of aging. Secondly, its inherent broadness afforded us the ability to brainstorm numerous innovative solutions aimed at addressing the fundamental issue. Armed with the insights gathered from our interviews and character profile, the depth of understanding offered by our POV, and the guidance from our how might we statement, we moved on to building our prototype to help solve this problem.
As we continue forward into direct feedback from our users, it's important to emphasize that our approach is deeply rooted in the design thinking model. Every piece of information that we've received plays a critical role in shaping our next steps. Starting with the communal calendar, many users, especially those in their late 70s, felt a renewed sense of connection. They viewed the calendar as not just a tool, but a bridge to community interactions, emphasizing its value in alleviating feelings of isolation. Moving on to the TRX fitness bands, responses were varied. While men in their early 80s appreciated the inclusion of physical activity, there were genuine concerns about safety and usability. The feedback points to the need for a more user-centric approach, perhaps including clear instructions on exploring alternative fitness tools and protocols. The gardening tip book resonated with many users. It catered to both a sense of nostalgia and provided direction for future gardening projects. But as we learned, addressing both emotional and practical needs is vital. The book tapped into the emotional aspect, but some users wished for more direct and actionable guidance. The optimism-focused book provided insights into the diverse needs of our user base. While its intent was well understood, there was a clear desire for content that spurred more tangible actions. The feedback underscores the need for continued refinement of our solution. In summary, the feedback from our users is a clear indication that we're on the right track, but there's room for improvement. We'll be taking this invaluable input and using it to refine the Golden Connections box, ensuring it meets the multifaceted needs of our target audience.
Hello, my name is David, and I'm going to talk about the design process and reflections on the design process. So, one of the first points that this design process and this experience has taught us is that sometimes we need to be pushed out of our comfort zone. So, we started with an ambiguous and large problem, and then we moved on to finding and conducting interviews, and it was a challenge and it was uncomfortable for a lot of us. However, it ended up yielding a lot of results and giving us perspective that we wouldn't have had otherwise. The other thing is that when we're talking about design thinking, a lot of times you think about a more nebulous perspective. So you have that pure image of creativity, but that design thinking process was a lot more structured, and this helped us from the beginning of our exercises. And it specifically helped us with coming up with a good interview guide, and that was crucial in getting us started on the right foot, as this was key for us to getting good data in, going on to those next steps. Another thing is that we didn't know what we didn't know, right? And that's the core of this design process. And these interviews that we conducted drill down on those things. So, and I really think this is a fantastic mantra for design thinking process, because during those interviews, revelations were made that us as individuals, or even collectively given our demographic, we would not been able to have come up with or think of. Finally, prototypes are not the end. A huge takeaway is that even though we came up with a prototype, it was not the end of the process. The prototype informed us that we were on the right track, but we were missing a lot more context. So the prototype and that feedback we received gave us a view that the next step is going back to that evaluate stage, but with more focused questions to ask.
Hello, my name is Matthew Moores. Today I present to you an initiative our team is passionate about: the implementation of the Golden Connections box. I'll be speaking to our business plan from a graphic representation that our team put together. You'll be able to follow along as I speak to each aspect, and I'll begin with key partners. Key partners. Our foundation is built on strategic partnerships. Collaborating with trusted federal agencies, such as the Social Security Administration and the Department of Veterans Affairs, will grant us inroads with potential customers and set sound foundation for long-term relationships. Partnering with these trusted agencies to serve the needs of the populations that they represent grants us legitimacy and provides immediate access to an audience who will benefit from our services. Following this mindset, we will also seek to partner with local agencies to help us identify seniors most in need of community and activity. And we will also build relationships with retirement communities to ensure our reach is targeted and efficient. Key activities. We all know the value of feedback and iteration. After prototype evaluations, it became apparent that we needed to delve deeper. Our next steps are not just reiterating our design, but also conducting in-depth market research on costs. We will leverage feedback from our customers to refine our products and to maximize the value of the products we deliver through efficient pricing. Key propositions. So what's the essence of the Golden Connections box? It's about fostering genuine connections. Our calendar is designed to immerse seniors in their community, promoting inclusivity and engagement. What's more, the box isn't a one-size-fits-all. It's tailored, ensuring every senior feels seen and valued. And our focus isn't solely on the mind. The physical benefits through exercise option aligns with holistic well-being. Customer segments. Our primary customers are seniors, but let's not forget an equally vital group, senior caregivers and the family of seniors. These individuals are integral to our outreach and success as they support their loved ones. Channels. Seniors are often thought of as lacking tech savvy, but research shows that aging populations are increasingly tech literate. We will leverage the internet and social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest to connect with and market to our intended customers. In addition, we will continue to advertise in traditional mediums, such as in magazines like Reader's Digest, to maximize our reach. Customer relationships. Our relationships with our customers is the key to our success. The Golden Connections experience can be customized. Users can interact through our application on their own terms and select how often they'd like to be contacted through our digital channels. We don't just offer a product, we're creating an ongoing dialogue from feedback to annual product refresh surveys. Add to that regular emails, which not only enhance box content, but also foster a deeper bond with our users. Cost structure. Launching the Digital Connections box will require an initial investment of $650,000. This cost encompasses design, product engineering, certification of the products, manufacturing, and delivery. Revenue streams. At a price of $150 per unit and a conservative estimate of 5,000 units for our market entry, we project revenue from unit sales alone to touch $750,000. The monthly subscription further bolsters this revenue, with an estimated monthly intake of nearly $50,000. In conclusion, the Golden Connections box isn't just a business venture, it's a mission to connect, to uplift, and to rejuvenate the lives of our seniors, reminding them that age is just a number and community ties are timeless. Thank you.
In terms of what to expect going into the design thinking process, some of us were not quite sure what to expect. It was the first time for a lot of the teammates that we had ever done any kind of design thinking work or interviewing work or brainstorming work. So we weren't quite sure what to expect, although we will say that doing the initial design thinking project at the very beginning of the class did help us get our bearings about us on a much smaller scale. In terms of what surprised us was actually how easy it was to come up with 50 unique ideas during the brainstorming process. Before we started the brainstorming process, we thought there was no way we would be able to come up with 50 unique ideas. It seemed like a huge quantity of ideas. But when we got started, it actually came quite naturally to us. And we found that it was pretty easy to build upon just a few initial ideas to come up with the 50. So it was truly an exercise in trusting the process, and it worked much better than we expected. In terms of what didn't work or corrections we would have made along the way, we found that some of the interview questions that we had for the respondents made them a little bit sad or a little bit downtrodden, especially some of the questions with regard to their family. This was apparent, especially if the respondents were recently widowed or lived really far away from their family. So I think if we were to go back in time and redo some of those questions, we would have either not asked them or asked them in a slightly different way just to be sensitive to the emotions of our respondents. In terms of what did work, there were a few things. The first one was the icebreaker questions in the start of the interview process. So a lot of the respondents were a little bit nervous about answering the questions correctly or making sure that they gave us what we needed for the course. So starting with the icebreaker questions really gave a sense of levity to the whole engagement. It helped people loosen up, open up, and really get ready to talk about some of the nitty-gritty details we were going for during the interview process. So that's absolutely something we would implement again. And the second big thing was just our genuine excitement to get to know the respondents. Overall, our team is pretty outgoing and intellectually curious, and we were truly excited to get to know the respondents, learn from them, hear about their backgrounds, and we felt that authenticity really came through during the interviews because we really got some of the respondents to open up and talk with us, and I don't think we would have had that experience had we not been as curious as we were. In terms of what we would do differently, of course, if this was truly a product we were trying to take to market, we would reiterate through the design process. We saw some feedback on our initial prototype, and we could kind of see the writing on the wall about how necessary it would be to go back to the drawing board to brainstorm different ideas and potentially come up with a new prototype to gain more feedback.